Welcome back to the Warzone Amateur Hour Podcast.
All right, we're back, a new year, same shitty intro song, but we're working on that, making some progress. I don't want to get into the details, but I'm feeling good that something better is coming soon.
All right, well, stay tuned, listeners. Still not quite there, but working on it. Welcome to 2021. We hope you all are still with us, still in the zone. It's getting a little hot and heavy, but we'll get all into that. Thanks for joining us. How has your week of playing the Warzone been right off the bat there, Cowboy?
So it was a fantastic week, frankly. I had a bounce back week. I think last week I was a little down. I wasn't doing too hot, but had a couple of momentum swingers where I think we played a few together. You and I got a duos win at one point, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. We won 3 mini royale quad games in a row, back to back to start one of the nights, which was great. But other than that, I mean, it's gone completely downhill. I think I broke my foot yesterday. I'm in a lot of pain. Yeah, I'm not a foot doctor, but it's definitely swollen and black and blue. And again, yeah, I'm not a foot doctor, but I do have a foot. I got 2 feet actually, so I definitely know about those, and it's probably broken. It sucks. But the good thing is that it's a foot, not a hand, because I would not be able to play at the top tier level I'm striving to play in the Warzone if I had broken one of my hands. So there's the silver lining.
Okay, so at first you started off pretty jovial, and then things took a downturn, but I guess you're still in the war zone is the answer I'm looking for. So right on
Yeah.
to that, baby.
How was your week? I mean, I alluded to a couple of our victories. How was your week in the zone?
I mean, like you said, there were some highlight reels, some all-time moments this week for me personally, your boy Tron 8, and for our podcast. You know, we're growing out there. So thanks to all you who are still listening, who are still with us, even this episode after that rambling expose you just gave about your foot. But you know, I won't get into it too much. Great week, but then lately I guess let's just dive right into it because I think it's going to be the title of the episode. The game is borderline broken at the moment because of this DMR and to a lesser extent Diamatti situation. Have you been experiencing this in your state of brokenness?
So, yeah, the short answer is yes, and of course I'm going to go into the long answer. Last week, I think we talked about it, and you asked me a similar question in that if I thought the DMR had broken the game, and I was a little more reluctant to say that it had, or I may have just said a flat out no. Either way, I am changing my tune this week. It's actually changing the game. I no longer am as gung ho about playing a traditional battle royale as opposed to the smaller map now because it's just like you get spanked with the DMR so fast. Your margin for error is gone now on the big map. If you get caught in a bad spot, it's honestly unlikely that you're going to survive. And there used to be wiggle room, like you can make a mistake and get out of it. That wiggle room is gone, man. The DMR it is rough. I am getting pork rolled out on Verdansk with the DMR.
And I mean, throughout the year plus, or I guess not quite 1 year mark of playing Warzone, we've experienced times where things got a little out of whack. The quote unquote, meta was out of balance, but nothing like it is now. The best way I could describe what Warzone has become as of our date of recording this, January 3rd, Season 1 of the Black Ops Cold War integration, is Warzone has basically become a game of fucking tag. And it's across long ass distances. If they see you first and they got that DMR, you are down, done, except for maybe a handful of chances here and there. Maybe you get lucky.
I agree.
But it's fucking insane. Even in vehicles, I'm dropping back in, trying to help my boys, doing my typical hero routine where I get 1 kill in a game of quads, but then it's from the gulag and I'm the last one alive, driving around in the fucking car. I can't even do that because I'm getting sniped by they can land 5 out of 50 shots and I'm done.
It's incredible. Yeah. And I love your analogy with tag because it's true. It's whoever sees the other one first, it's over. And that's assuming on your end that you're a good enough shot to get them back. But see, we have that issue where we're not the best shots. So it's really, really unfavorable for us. We're getting just torn apart out on the map. And then it's not, I mean, the DMR is the DMR, which is just destroying me. Then there's the Diamattis, which it's no longer you're safe inside. If someone comes inside with those dual pistols, you are dead so fast. It's, if you have the DMR and the Diamatti loadout right now and you're a good player, you come up against me, I am like so vulnerable. I'm just completely naked out there. I'm going to get killed every single time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a DMR, Diamatti, fully leveled loadout with perhaps Ghost. Zero downside at this point. That's the other thing about, the situations, the metas in the past. When it was the Bruin that was rippingly good, it could still lose up close or fairly far away.
Yeah.
It wasn't sniping people. Same with, the Growl. There was always the MP5 that could counter it up close. But now if you run that Diamatti DMR loadout, you have virtually no weakness anywhere in terms of range. And there's just all sorts of fucking things going on. I've seen people sound like they're quitting in masses. Have you thought about walking away until they resolve this?
I haven't thought about walking away until they resolve this, but I love a noble cause. I like playing the game and I love the mini map. I mean, to me, I'm just going to keep playing the mini map, because it's not as egregious on the mini map. Like you can still, there's not as many wide open spaces and large things you need, like things you need to cover, and you can survive long enough indoors. The Diamatti still is destroying people, but people are less likely to get their loadouts on the small map. So it is a bit of a game changer. I'm not going to stop playing the small map, but I mean, I'm not going to be playing the big map nearly as much.
So you're staying away from Verdansk until this is addressed. I'm on the fence at the moment.
Really?
Early in the week, I mean, we were still having some success, but the last few days I've played, it's lost the joy. It's become way more stressful. Even with good communication, you can do all the right moves and you still just get, again, it's 2-3 shots and you're done. We've never seen anything. It's like, fuck, the closest thing was that sniper that was hit scan, the SPR a few things back. But now it's literally insane. And on top of that, we're finding out that there's even more aspects broken about these guns than we had thought. They now discovered this week, I don't know if you heard, but they've confirmed that the Cold War scopes do not have a glint. So you can have a 20x scope in that game. Throw that on your fucking DMR, zap people from across the map, and they're not even going to know where it comes from because you're not even shining.
I did not know that. This is the first I'm hearing about this, and that is insanity. What I don't understand is why aren't they fixing this? They always fix these issues in the past. They always nerf the guns that are insane. Why hasn't this been done yet? It seems like it's such a large problem, or am I just naive about like the software capabilities, them turning around like an updated version? Does that take longer? Am I just being a total asshole?
I mean, I'm not going to theorize on that stuff. All I know is there are some quick fixes for this. We've discussed them. We talked about them last week. An instant fix I'm sure they could do is switch it to sniper ammo.
Yeah.
Quickly patch that. It's going to eliminate that. Put a fucking glint back in. I guess maybe that's a little bit more heavy-handed. But again, the timing of this release is horrible because we've now had 2 holidays, Christmas and then New Year's Eve. So these guys who probably handle this shit, they're back at their mom's house on the East Coast, watching the bowl games, sucking down IPAs while all of us are sweating it out in the zone. Am I right?
That's so interesting. I didn't think about the holiday break, and all of these developers working for these companies are obviously not changing shit right now because they're taking probably a much needed holiday rest after an insane year and a massive update that kind of started this podcast as well with the Black Ops integration. They are probably tired of working, tired of updating, and they need it more than ever right now. It's kind of ironic. Yeah, but something needs to be done. I'm not going to go as far to say that I'm not going to play the game. I mean, we host a Warzone podcast. You can't quit playing the game, man. Like we're trying to start a media empire here. You got to stay playing.
Yeah, but you could do a boycott back, 1970s college radio shit. Like, this is a sit-in, man. We're going to talk about Warzone, the protest Warzone, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Sure. I mean, we could do that. Yeah, we could. But I I don't know. But it's funny. It's like when you're not playing the game, you're like, oh, I love the game. It's great. Then as soon as you're in the middle of the map and you just get destroyed by a DMR for the fifth game in a row, and you're sitting there for 10 minutes waiting to upload into a new lobby, you're like, I'm never fucking playing this game again. So, it's a roller coaster.
And then there's still been occurring is the loadout glitch where it's taking delayed amounts of time to get your loadout, seeing that come back. The other thing they just discovered, if you're out there unaware, they found now the stats listed for the Black Ops gun attachments are virtually all riddled with errors. If you go check out this guy's YouTube, True Game Data, this guy, I mean, he's like one of these monks out there in the Warzone community just doing God's work, and he's sleuthing, finding out the attachment might say like, oh, it's the longest barrel on the fucking FFAR. It's going to make your gun stronger. Actually, he tests that. Turns out it's not. So all of that is completely broken. The glint's now broken. These guns we've said are broken. I mean, can we call it a broken game at this point, man?
I think, wow, you're being pretty compelling right here. I wasn't expecting this emotion. But yeah, it sounds like there are aspects broken. I mean, but it's not hard fixes. Like we've said, it's just a couple of things. Like you add the glint to the sniper. You make the DMR use sniper ammo. It's like you pull back like the fire rate on a MAC-10. It's not the big things that need to get changed. It's just little things. And unfortunately, they're all on holiday breaks, sucking down eggnog and IPAs, as you said.
The other glitch that I need to mention that I'm sure you guys have been experienced is with these Cold War guns. When you hit reload with the Modern Warfare guns, if you're holding forward to, let's say, sprint out, it won't let you sprint out until you complete that reload, and it'll show the little number.
Yes.
Whereas these COD guns, they'll start the animation, but then about halfway through, they'll let you sprint away, but the reload will not register.
It's so annoying, dude. I've noticed that as much as I've noticed the loadout glitch as well. That the reloading glitch is such a pain in the ass. It's so upsetting. And I don't know if you, going back to the loadout glitch, have you accidentally selected the wrong loadout because of the glitch?
I feel like I have, but sometimes I do that unintentionally.
So you do that either way. Yeah.
So yeah, it might be user error. I don't know.
I've had it happen to me a few times, and it is it's very, very frustrating.
But, I don't want this to turn into, soapboxing. This is what grinds my gears. We're just venting. I'm with the community, trying to be the voice of the community here. But like you just pointed out, Cowboy, these aren't game, rebuilding fixes. They're a matter of tweaking and trimming here and there. And like you said, it shouldn't be that hard. So hopefully things are on the horizon because ironically enough, I feel like right before the Cold War integration hit, there was a glorious few days. They had just kind of brought the Kilo down a scotch and the R9 shotgun. And I feel like the game was so beautifully balanced. We were seeing all sorts of guns. And now it's gone completely out of whack. That balance I talk about, this fucking seesaw is going up and down right now. I hope we can start leveling it off in the coming days, hopefully.
Yeah, I got to imagine that they're going to work on that. And you're right. It's just a bummer because, and yeah, I don't want to be too negative this pod, but it's just so much fun when the game is strategic and you're not just constantly worrying about like one or two things that are going to end your shot at a victory, like the best when it's beautifully balanced, as you said. And right now the balance is as far off as we've ever seen. So it is a little disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, we want a game where we can have a guy rocking a Pila Mac-10 and they can get their game on. They can have their little role. But right now you drop in with something like that. Maybe the Mac-10 can help you out there, but other than that, you're virtually dead.
Let's just say the Pila Mac-10 combo is not thriving in this DMR-ridden Verdansk right now. I have not been very successful with the Pila and the Mac-10. It's kind of upsetting, actually. I long for the days when I could just rock a Pila like a boss.
Yeah, here's to that. Well, that said, that's really it for what's going on in the state of Warzone. In terms of updates on some orders of business from last week, I did a little investigating into the C4 throwing distance. We had surmised that maybe they had buffed that. I'm going to say I'm still unsure. I can't quite tell. I don't work on the PC. I don't know the little combinations to throw shit super far. So I'm by no means an expert. Any thoughts on that this week? Did you fuck around with that?
I didn't even think about it. I mean, maybe in my mind's eye, I remember throwing it and being like, "Oh, it seemed like it went a lot farther than it used to." I feel like that thought was floating in my sphere of thoughts.
Your sphere of thoughts. All right. Well, the other thing, though, which I can pretty much 99% slash almost 100% confirm, is the health of these helicopters has been buffed. I've been flying around with them all over Plunder trying to level up guns, and you can abuse the shit out of them a lot more now, I feel like. And they'll kind of stay up. So that's a big kind of news there. I haven't had an instance where I've been hit by a rocket and only disabled, which we thought might be possible, but did you use that Pila at all this week?
I didn't. That's the other sad thing is that my Pila game is fallen off the table because on the small map, I'm not rocking a Pila, obviously, because there's like one chopper that thing gets destroyed fast, if it even gets used at all. On the main map, I'm not going Pila, obviously, because I'm only trying to defend myself against the DMR. So no, I haven't been using the Pila, but I am curious. I was going to ask, what does that mean for my Pila game? Am I going to be able to bring down a chopper with one shot with the Pila, or is it two shots? That's because that changes everything. The reload time on a Pila, it's all about just shooting and destroying. You know, if you have to hit them twice, I don't know, that really changes things with the Pila as much as I love it.
You asked me if I know about that. I don't know, which is why last week I'm pretty sure I asked you to check it out, and then you dropped the ball now.
Well, if there's one thing you know that I'm not good at is remembering to do stuff that you ask me to do. So you really got to ask me a second time, man.
Okay. Well, that said, one thing you also noted last week is you were praising the new Rebirth Resurgence trios. And I warned you, I said that shit's gonna be going away. And what happens? It gets pulled out. Now we got Rebirth quads with this new gulag, which I guess the one thing we've been ahead of the curve on. We previewed this new gulag like 3 weeks back. Finally a reality. What are your thoughts on this new Rebirth mode?
Dude, the Warzone gods giveth, and they take it just as I was loving the trios mode. They changed it to a rebirth quad situation, yeah, with, as you said, that new gulag. That new gulag is so hard. It's so hard. I'm doing so bad in the gulags now, and I don't know why. I mean, oh man, it's just when you start to figure something out, it just gets taken from you. So, I'm not a fan of that new gulag. I loved the rebirth and like when you would just come back and come back and come back. Like, it's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I would much rather have this rebirth quad situation as opposed to the trios. With the way that the DMR has affected Verdansk, I can't be too picky right now. But I really like the rebirth trios. This is not a horrible substitute, but at the same time, yeah, it's not not to sound too negative, but I did love the trios. Sad it's gone. Sad it's gone.
I'm with you. I really like the mechanism they developed there for respawning in that last mode. I'm bummed they took it away. I'm fine going to quads if they had just made it like a quad mode. Because like you said, I'm not a fan of this new gulag. I also been getting my ass kicked in it. I was under the impression there's supposed to be like a bell or something. I thought when you go in that center area, I was trying to get all strategic with that a few times and then just getting destroyed. So no such luck. But like you said, I'll take this mode all day over the DMR Fest, the DMR zone, as it were, in Verdansk at the moment. And you and I and our two teammates, as you said, early in the week, having the best streak of our Warzone lives careers, the amateurs coming on up. 3 victories in a row on this rebirth mode, back to back to back. I mean, what do you remember from all that?
Well, we had our strategy. If we want to talk a little bit of strategy, what we were doing is we were landing on I guess you would say the west.
The Southwest.
Yeah, and like near the little military camping, like the green tent things. We were landing generally in that area and then working that ridge north. I guess it would be northeast below prison and just slowly riding the gas in. And instinctively, you always think you want to have the high ground, but for some reason, having the low ground, we were able to, because the way the gas was moving, it was pushing people off of prison, off of headquarters down to us. So we kind of actually, ironically had the upper hand being low. And it was really we were on it, man. We did so good. We were all feeling it.
Yeah, that was an exciting time. I mean, the first time we got the win, I was like, "Oh, sick, we got a win in this new mode." Second time, it's like, "Oh shit, dude, back to back." Third time was like, "Well, we got to try it 3 times." And then I mean, it got hairy a little later in those second and third games, but we still pulled it out. Pretty amazing stuff. Like I said, I'm hoping for 4 people this past week because I try to avoid Verdansk because I made a commitment to myself. Maybe again, I'm stubborn. You're not gonna find like a guy who's always chasing the best or the meta when you got Tron 8 talking to you on this podcast, but you're gonna have a man speaking from his soul. And I can't corrupt my soul by chasing this DMR thing. I haven't even touched the gun. I'm not leveling up. I will admit that a teammate of mine has let me use theirs time and again, and I have messed with it. I've felt the power, but it's just not the cost of my soul.
Yeah, I have no shame in selling my soul for the DMR. Yeah, I definitely like it because the thing is that, if, apples being apples, I'm going to get killed up against most anybody if we have the same gun. So if I'm not using the DMR, that ratio just goes even further against me.
Yeah, that said, we had first ever in our career and in the history of this podcast, our first ever duos victory together.
We did. That was, it's kind of gives me goosebumps when you say that. Yeah, it was. And it was not only was it just like our first duos win together, just the two of us, but it was such a clean, strategic game. We did so well. Like, we controlled our fate and it was great. I mean, do you want to walk us through that game? I think your memory might be a little sharper than mine.
Well, the early going was a bit hazy for me, actually, ironically enough. But what I do remember is we made a plan. We knew the circle was going to be heading towards Dam, thanks to some recons we got. So I said we're going to go ahead and circle up towards Dam counterclockwise if you're looking at the circle. And that's just what we did. We ended up having to go up through the bowels of Dam through the zip line. Pretty harrowing moment going up that, but we were clean. Then we got up above that lake area. A lot of the guys who fuck around up by the dam, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to get up there. And then essentially, as the circle closed, we were the highest point at all times, working our way down. In the final moments, you were downed. It was 1v1 with me. I got the final kill, and let's go ahead and listen to the clip of our reaction here. I got him, baby. Our first duos victory!
Oh, it brings me right back. Oh man, that pure excitement. There's nothing like it. As we talked about, I think on the first podcast we ever did together, the reason you play is because you're chasing the high of the victory and you can feel that sweet energy in that clip.
And that's right. And your boy, for the record, Tron 8, not running a DMR or a Diamatti. I had the old M13 and I think a Mac 10. Was able to get it done because, that's the lesson of David and Goliath, is that sometimes that brain can outshine that brawn, baby.
Yes, it was a beautiful game, yeah. Hopefully more to come, but I think it'll probably be a while before we get any of their duos victories.
Well, speaking of strategy, Cowboy, we had a listener reach out to our official email account. Thanks to you, those of you out there who've been contacting us. We love it. Keep it coming. We're all about the engagement. But we got a first question, I would say, for us to answer on air. This one comes to us from Chick Magnet 2472, and he writes, "My question for you guys is, what's your go-to strategy over the course of a normal Warzone game? Do you usually go for a certain kind of contract, drop in at a certain location, and then what?" And he adds that he usually drops somewhere where he's going to be able to loot up without dying, and then he'll try and head for a recon or two. But sometimes he might feel like going for a little bit of momentum and hop in somewhere hot, get some more kills. But he says around the 5th circle, that's when he starts to play for positioning and find the best place to hold out for the remaining circles. But he'd love to hear how we play and how our strategies change as the games progress.
Yeah, well, that's quite a loaded question. We can talk shop on that for quite some time, but I think the first thing you have to realize is there's two types of players. There are aggressive assassins that are very good, the guys that are constantly on the move, have no fear running out in the open, and that are just like slayers, right? And then there's the other type, us, Tron and myself, that are not as good as that, do not have the confidence in the open field, and think in a one-on-one battle, we are probably going to get mauled down and pork rolled. So you have to, I agree with him in that it's all about how you set yourself up for the end. And I think, so then we'll go back to the beginning here. For a long time, we like to drop a little bit outside of the circle, find somewhere that's not too hot, just like you said, somewhere where we can loot, hopefully not die. We try to avoid confrontations early, really until we get our loadout. And then basically we're either going for recons or scavengers. You know what I mean?
I think for me, my strategy changes. Really, the most important factor is what size teams I'm playing. If I'm going solos, which I rarely do now, or duos, I try to get far as fuck from that flight path. Still somewhat close to the edge of the circle, I'd say. Loot up as much as I can because when you're working with only two people, it takes a lot more to find that $10,000, get that loadout.
Yeah.
But that said, when I'm rolling with like 3 or 4 people, trios or quads, sometimes it's better to just go with the scavenger because then you can load that shit up quick. Sometimes within like a minute, you're ready to roll with the loadout. So I don't know if I have a set strategy there, but my question to you is, in terms of if you had to pick one, what's the better drop to start? A recon or a scavenger?
I think that my most successful games have been when I'm working with a team and we will grab a helicopter and go do a recon after recon after recon after recon. And at some point in getting those, we will get our loadout and we will know exactly where that circle's going to end. And then we can take our time and be strategic about how we're going to get there, where we want to be when the final circle comes. And those are really the times that I've gotten my wins. I think I've done it that way. So I've always been a recon guy for some reason. I think that information is just really valuable. And frankly, loadouts, I know it's great to get them early on, but it's the difference between only a couple of minutes, I feel like sometimes. I don't know. I'm a recon guy, and I think you've become a recon guy. Am I right?
Well, on one hand, I know what you're talking about. There's been rounds where we've just cranked them out. We've gotten like 5 or 6 recons we can see into the future. But I mean, if my memory serves me correct, I feel like most of the times we end up getting fucking slapped in those games. Like either we make it to the place where the circle's going to close and we haul up in some building and then we end up getting bum rushed by 3 teams, or we just get pushed out later and get fucked. Or by the time we're trying to fly into the last building, there's already a team there that's dug their heels in and then we just get slapped. So I don't know if I have a preferred best. I would say though, I think these days, again, if I'm trios or quads, I'm going scavenger. Let's get one quick. Let's find one far away from the other teams. Let's get our shit, and then let's go hunting. But if I'm duo solos, that recon to me, that can become a little bit more valuable. That's where I'm at.
I agree. I agree with that. And just to, kind of show another side of the coin, I love a spicy drop into prison. If, you're just feeling it with a couple of buddies and you want to just get some action and loot up fast, I'll drop into prison any day of the week. I'm a prison boy, baby.
Oh, I've known that. I don't know what the affinity is for that correctional institution, but you certainly are. And that was the other part of Chick Magnet's question is, are there certain locations we like to drop in for you? Yes, always. Anytime we let you pick it, it's like, yo, let's go to fucking prison. For me, I love the hills area.
You love Promenade, dude. You're off in the Promenade drinking your Cadillac margaritas. You want to go there every time we drop because it's so safe.
I love the Promenade. Then let's talk about late game. Do you have a strategy late game? Because I'm trying to think if I do, and I'm usually just so scared shitless that I'm kind of running and chasing daylight.
I mean, I am the same exact way. I think a younger, less mature player that I was, just several months ago, was into hunkering down, especially if I was playing a solos or a duos, like holding a house that I know is probably going to be safe. But one thing I'm a fan of too is I like working the gas in. And again, it's so circumstantial. It totally depends on where you on the map, what kind of cover do you have? Is it houses? Is it hillsides? Is it ledges? Like, what are you working with? But I like to ride that gas in, and typically I like to have the high ground, obviously. High ground is just so superior when it's kind of converging and you can look down on that. And if you're not getting forced, best case scenario is you're up high on something and other people are getting pushed out of wherever they are beneath you and you're looking down on them. That's the best way to end the game to me.
Yeah, I think that really is the mantra I've developed. That was really what we put into practice during a duos win. Is I've been watching little clips of some of these streamers, the guys that really know what they're doing. The Goliaths, I've seen they leverage that high ground at all possible, especially late in the game. Because the nature of the gas, you can get in situations where really you get in a high position and nobody can really attack you other than directly from below in some instances, and it's just a massive advantage. So that I think answers the question. We love it from our users. Go ahead, if you're out there, email us your questions at warzoneamateurhour@gmail.com. That's WARZONEAMATEURHOUR@gmail.com. We'll talk about it on the air. We're also added this dude as a friend. We're gonna be dropping into the zone together, so get ready for some action there, Chick Magnet, baby.
Yeah, we're like, I mean, frankly, I'll speak for both of us. If you email us and you ask us a great question, we will definitely read that on the pod. And if you want to play with us, we're totally down with that too. So yeah,
Don't expect much in terms of like us putting anything we talk about into play or competency.
oh yeah, no. Don't expect a win, but if you just want to, if you want to hang out,
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps us up. It was a big week. As we said, the Warzone's in a state of turmoil. But one thing that you can always count on is the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, baby.
boom.
5 weeks strong. We're coming at you every Monday. We're going to be following this thing through the good and the bad. But, stay safe out there. Cheers to you in the zone. And hopefully the next time we talk, we're in a much more balanced state.
Yeah, we will see. I have a good feeling though. I think this is like the dark before the light. I got a good feeling.
Cheers. Signing off. Thanks, y'all. Get them dubs.